actually had posted in our Discord an article.
Here we go. Ba-bam! Now you can see it. Do a third of Americans really hate their own country? From the University of New Zealand.
Like I said, I do feel blessed to be in America, but at the
And
same time,
well, and I think that on both sides there tends to be this knee-jerk reaction. This is something else I wanted to bring up because I read your article and it was definitely written by a left-leaning person, right? Because the way it treats left people and the way it treats right people, it's not exactly unbiased. I wasn't expecting.
Well, it's written. Well, for one, it was written at a university.
Yeah.
2, it was written by a professor at the university. And 3, it was written at a university, the University of New Zealand, which I would argue is more left-leaning of a country, at least if you were to compare it to American ideals.
Yes, and I'm not discounting because I think the article did bring up some really good points. I think it actually, that's why I said, I think that there's this perception by conservatives that pointing out problems and focusing on problems that the country are facing means that you hate America. Or demanding that certain solutions that liberals think are good solutions be pursued, and anybody who doesn't agree with those solutions is a bad person. That also contributes to it as well. This perception that they hate American and American idealism.
Well, I think with both, it's kind of like
well, and
it's like with each reaction, it's like a counter reaction, right? There's an overreaction to the reactions, right? So it's, you get one person that doesn't like that, they don't like the US, they say the US sucks, and then so as a hyper reaction to that, they say, well, America's perfect.
Well, that's what I was about to say is that the American exceptionalism that Donovan's pointing to, I think that this is what I find, right? Because I actually do think that America is the greatest country on Earth and probably the greatest to have ever existed. That doesn't mean that we're the greatest in all of these standards. I just mean that we're the freest, most prosperous society to ever exist, but I don't think we're perfect. And I think there's this conflation that when you say best, that means that either I think America's perfect or I think other places are bad, right? Like, I don't think other places are bad. I think other places have things they can teach America. But there's this assumption that when you say America is the greatest country on earth or American exceptionalism, that you think that America's perfect and we don't need to change anything and there are no problems and we're not going to deal with that. There's this assumption on the left that I don't think a lot of people on the right actually believe. There's obviously some that are that patriotic and believe that, but I don't think most people on the right actually believe that. Just like I don't think that when a liberal says, I think we have a serious problem with incarceration in the United States, that they hate America, right? I don't think that. But there's this desire to there's a knee-jerk reaction.
There's outliers to both. There are people that really do hate America, and there's people that really do, overlook all the faults.
And I think that the point I want to make is that I don't think most people fall into that category. I think most people love their country.
Somewhere. I mean, right. I mean, at least in some ways, like, even if you don't realize it, I think, a lot of people would be remiss to be, it's somewhere else in a lot of, for a lot of people.
Well, I think the most interesting people to talk to about America are immigrants.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they often have views you don't expect them to have, right?
They oftentimes are less critical of the U.S. than people in the U.S.
people who are born here, yeah.
Right. Well, that's kind of that's sort of one of the greatest things about the U.S. is we're almost our greatest critic, right?
Yeah. I mean,
maybe not
quite a bit, but
yeah, okay, you're right on that. But I would say that
you French.
America's biggest critic is ourselves. Like I mean, if anybody's giving us shit for the stuff we do, it's us.
Well, and that's part of that's actually kind of part of the founding fathers' vision, right? Been of flaws, yes, but part of their vision was we want to create a government that can be criticized by the people. We want to create a society that can be criticized by itself.
Right.
You know, that's why things like freedom of speech are enshrined, because it's like, well, you should be allowed to criticize the government, right? You should be allowed to criticize other people.
If you liked this highlight, be sure to tune in to the full episodes every Monday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time.